guys, it's Kelly from Cards by Christine here with you on a Technique Thursday to share with you black stamping. So, this is the simple card I made, and I was very intentional for it to be simple. Sometimes you just want a very quick, easy, simple card, or need, want or need, but it's still beautiful. So that is what I was going for. If you followed Cards by Christine for some time now, you will see this is a revitalization of a tip I did over a year ago, probably a year and a half ago by now. And I just want to show you how I did it to remind you that black stamping is a wonderful technique, and also to show you this kind of new revitalization of it. So, I've got my D block here. I think it's the D. Yep, my D block here. And I brought in a selection of Stampin' Right markers in a kind of gradiating pattern. And what I did in a past rendition of black stamping is you just take your block and you stamp it into the stamp pad and boom. But we are going to use our Stampin' Right markers this time. Now, this would be a great time to point out that this technique, or using markers, you will definitely need to use Stampin' Right markers. This is not a use for blends, okay? So I just want to point that out. These are water-based markers, and that is what you would want to be using. Now, I'm going to start with my Daffodil Delight, or excuse me, So Saffron, and just swipe a couple of bars of ink across the bottom. Moving then to Bumblebee. Then moving up to Calypso Coral. Pumpkin Pie. And last but certainly not least, this is, I think, Real Red. Yep, Real Red. Okay. So now, you've got your block colored. You need to kind of somewhat blend the inks or refresh the inks. You could use a spritzer, but what I chose to do is to go to the sink behind my workstation, and what I'm going to do is try to verbalize to you what I'm going to do, and then you'll see me doing it. I don't think speaking that way is going to help you hear me. So I'm going to run the water and take my fingertips under the stream of water and just flick a couple of fingernails worth or fingers worth of water onto it, to kind of blend the ink but also get like a watercolory look to it. So I'm just going to turn on a soft stream of water, run my fingers under it, and do a couple of flicks. Nothing too much, just a little bit. And then I'm going to come back to my workstation and put down my foam mat, or my piercing mat, a card base in thick white. You know, you're putting water on your project, so you don't want thin paper. And then you're going to take your block and flip it over, kind of speedily, because you've got water that's going to kind of go everywhere, and then smush it down onto your paper. So let's do this. Now you see kind of the water is smearing, so I put a little more water on this one than I did on the last one. AKA, I think I put a little too much water on this one. Enough so to the fact that I kind of splooched here. Whenever doing any type of work with water or watercolor, you always want to have a paper towel handy. So what I did here was I wiped off the excess ink, but then I also took care of my little splooch, whatever you want to call it. Now, because every time you do this, use the same colors, use the same, pattern, the same everything, it's always going to look different. So I'm going to maybe touch this up a little bit and bring in my water painters and just kind of either spread, blend, move, you know, any sort of work, but look at the beauty of, I mean, you just watched me do it. It was super, super simple. But like this one's dry, so the colors will look truer and nicer. But look I did nothing of this. The water pushed and pulled the color to get this really nice soft edge. And same here, you know, you get just a very organic feel to it. Another thing I did was took my Stella brush and just added a coat of Stella onto this whole square of color. Other than that, that was that. Now, I'm going to keep talking through what I did. I'm not going to show you any of this anymore because this is wet and will remain wet for a good 20-30 minutes. You want it, well, that was maybe an exaggeration, 10 to 20 minutes. You want it to completely dry before you stamp onto this. So, you know, the next step is stamping. This would be too wet. Your blacks would just run and dissipate and just look yucky. But while that's drying, we're going to go back over to this one. And I brought in my On the Horizon stamp set, stamped Thinking of You in Memento on the bottom. Took the tree line here and stamped it on the bottom of my block stamped image, and then took the birdies and put it at the top. That was it. I mean, I cannot explain to you how simple this card is, but it is still beautiful. Then I took a glue dot, placed a glue dot there, and put my black baker's twine, tied it, pressed the tie down, and then tied my bow onto that glue dot so that it was nice and in place. And then I brought in these wonderful iridescent rhinestones. I struggle with random, so I don't know if I like the placement of them, but put a couple of them on there to just put the finishing touches on it. And then your card is done. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that too simple, too easy, too not extravagant? I secretly think I just love it. Like, I don't know. I think that's my feeling. But I could see you doing a lot of different things with this. Either a lot of different color schemes, any variety of sunset or anything. You know, honestly, I went over to Chris's area of new stamps and let this dictate what my technique was. I saw this. I wanted a black tree with a beautiful gradient sunset in the background, and then this is what just grew out of that, and I love it. Sometimes I crave simple cards because that's where my brain's at, and sometimes, you know, you just need something fast and easy to facilitate a need. I have unfortunately needed a fair amount of sympathy cards recently, and so maybe that's the other thing that this was born from, was what's kind of on my mind right now. So yeah, so that is my block stamping technique for you. Please, please, as always, share with me any thoughts, feelings, or comments that you have, and if this has inspired you to create any creations, I would love for you to comment them in the comments on this thread. That would just always make my day. So I hope you guys had a wonderful Technique Thursday. If you are in or near the Wisconsin area, or any area that's being dumped on by snow right now, I empathize with you. I'm gonna do my little Zoom thing. So I wore incredibly inappropriate shoes today. I have had frozen feet. Actually, I haven't worn my shoes all day. I've taken them off everywhere I've gone. I had to make, like, of course, 6 stops today on a day that's snowy and yucky, and my feet have yelled at me for it. But this is my last stop on my way home. I've been warned that the drifts in our driveway are horrible, and Mom doesn't know. She's at home watching my kids. She doesn't know if I'm going to get in the driveway and if she's going to get out of the driveway, so I'm just, like, hating on this. But I took my pants off at the door. Let's see if I got my long underwear on, and the bottom of my pants were wet, and usually, you know, I take my shoes off, and then I sit on my legs. I sit crisscross applesauce, and I was like, I'm gonna get wet wetness everywhere because the bottom of my pants are wet. And so I'm like, you know what? I got my long underwear on. I'm just taking my pants off at the door with my shoes. So, oh, man. The harsh Wisconsin weather is here, and I'm just salty about it, I think is what I'm trying to say. So I hope your Technique Thursday has been better than mine, and or I hope you are all staying safe in whatever kind of weather is around you, be it snow or rain, wind, sun, any of the above. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and the weekend is in sight. So hopefully everyone's got some time carved out for some card making and sunshine, love, and happiness in whatever way, shape, or form that comes to you. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and you can catch Chris later tonight with some live card making.